Okay, until further notice, I'm calling this track done. We've been calling it Chorus Blaster. The name Into the Binary came to mind as I was listening through it the last time. It just kind of felt cool. I don't know. This track gives me very big Bullet Hell vibes. Galaga and the games that came after it, especially the more cacophonous ones, just trying to dodge bullets while also trying to shoot them off at the same time. It's a very, very cacophonous track. So I'll play the track all the way through here. You can listen to it, and then I'll walk through the things I did today to get it to this final state. And yeah, this is Into the Binary. Tell me what you think. I regularly have a habit of making tracks way too long. If you've listened to my chiptune album Boss Fight that you can listen to on all platforms, linked down below, you'll know that there's like 2 tracks on there that are like 7-8 minute long tracks. And for video game soundtracks, that's not a bad thing. But this isn't actually a video game soundtrack. This is not actually going behind a video game. This is something I'm making specifically for people to listen to. And when I'm doing that, I really should make tracks at a more palatable length. So this coming in at just under 3 minutes is, if it is erring on the side of too short, and that is a good thing for me, just to like be comfortable kind of putting this out there as something that people will hopefully get done listening to and be interested in hitting repeat and listening to again. The main things we did today was adjusting some mix things, putting a few extra elements here on the end. The biggest one is this guy, this riser. I wanted this whole 8 bars here to really feel like it's rising up in energy and getting consistently more and more cacophonous as it's going on. So that guy is there and doing that job effectively. You don't really hear him, but he's in the background. And then at the very end, you start to really hear him, especially because he combines with this guy, who has a very similar space, but is much shorter. The other thing we did to kind of double down on this effect was put some automation for our Game Boy leads here. We put them into a stack here so that we could put effects onto both of them into two things. We put a tremolo and a bit crusher. The bit crusher is slowly increasing in the amount it is bit crushing, and the tremolo is also coming in here at the end. So it sounds like this, the start. And then slowly the bit crusher turns up. And the tremolo comes in as well. So those two things kind of just help adding to the cacophony of what's going on here at the end, as it's supposed to, again, just be this boss fight that's just kind of getting out of hand at the end, and then hopefully this is that last shot as you take out the boss. Did a few other things on the mix end of things to try and like clean things up. I feel like this middle area, the bass was somehow very undefined and yet also wubby. And like it was very like present. You could really feel a lot of kind of bass frequencies bouncing around in your ears, but couldn't really distinguish what any of them were, and it didn't feel very satisfying. So did a few things. And this section here, the beginning, this part is fine, but then when we get into the more busy section, there's still a little bit of it. If you were listening closely and like try to like hear like what actually is happening in the bass, it just kind of feels like a lot of like bouncing around, like you can feel like pressure waves, but you don't actually hear a sound. And so I did a few things to try and like clean that up. The first one was on our taikos here, or on the main one here, having, you can see there, just look at this, it's off here, and then it turns on there. We're just taking out the bass, a lot of the bass frequencies at 71 hertz and under. Just got the big kind of rumbling stuff. There's a lot going on there with our taikos, and I don't think we really need them. I could even be maybe a little bit more aggressive with this, but I don't want to completely take away all those bass frequencies. But there's two instruments down here in the bass that are kind of eating at where those drums are occupied. If I solo the drums here, like you can hear there's so much happening in the bass. So there's a notable loss and rumble in those drums, but again, there's so much other things. There's two other big instruments happening here. Mainly this guy, this bass down here, who's then has this guy come in halfway through. And I thought this was kind of clever. I don't know. This just seems like really simple, but I literally just have that bass cut out as this bass comes in. You know, without that bass there, it sounds like this. I think that's pretty cool, you know. I think that was a really effective way to get that out of, to carve out that space for it there. And the impact of this guy was really getting completely lost before. I had him pulled back in the mix, and it just kind of had him layered on top of this guy, which I am interestingly doing over here on the breakdown section, kind of like where we were like building back up into our drop. I do have this guy just sitting straight clean on top of him. And the impact's pretty good, so I don't know. There was something about maybe it kind of like sitting in this pocket, which I really liked. It was kind of crazy that there's some nice kind of music theory reasons why I think that this really sits well in this specific spot here, where over here I like it sitting on the downbeat, but it was kind of getting lost, and so I was able to turn it up because I was carving out the space for it by taking this I Love You bass, which is not actually I Love You. It's just it's a very simple saw wave bass with some subs and stuff. Nothing complicated about that, but just I needed to kind of make more space on the bottom end. So cleaning up this section here definitely helped make things better. The one thing I don't like about the piece right now, or the kind of thing that I feel like is really standing out to me, is this Game Boy lead when it comes in. It's so loud, and this is a thing I'm slowly learning, that when I sense this is an EQ problem, not a volume problem, that like it feels like it's too loud right now, and if I pull it down, it feels like it's too quiet. So there's not like a sweet spot for me to set it with it volume wise, which usually means it's competing with something else. I've slowly learned that over this year, that that's what that means. And so maybe I really should kind of come in here and look at this EQ and see if I can find a better spot for it. But I did, it was sitting in a decent spot, and I didn't like how thin it was, so then I gave it back some bass frequencies, and now it's having trouble sitting in the mix. So figuring out kind of what that's competing with, it's probably this guy here, this which is kind of sitting right on top of the same spot as it. So I maybe should have come through and look at this EQ and maybe kind of like do some of this maybe. See, now it sounds like it's too quiet. Maybe it's okay. So that's the sort of things that I still have yet left to work on. This piece is definitely not a masterpiece by any means, but it is a big improvement over the things I've made in the past. Boss Fight in particular was my, the title track of the album. Boss Fight is my best attempt at making like big and energetic boss fight music prior to this, and this I think is way closer to the energy that I actually wanted. That's funny because like Boss Fight, the track, if you go and listen to it, is much more in my mind kind of an Elden Ring, Dark Souls type sound. It's got this kind of like big intro where it's like you're standing on the edge of the boss fight pit, and then you step across the line and the health bar shows up and you've drawn aggro, and the only way to get out of the fight is to actually win or to die. And that's how that track feels to me. While the album art of Boss Fight is very is Bullet Hell Galaga type vibes, and this is much more that energy to me. And if I had written this track at the same time that I had written Boss Fight, I would have definitely put this as the Boss Fight track. So I'm very happy with where I've gotten this to energy wise. And this section is definitely the section that needs the most help. I messed around with our careless break here. This is the guy in the breakdown section that helps us kind of like get back into our drop. And I did a few things. I tried to like mess around with gain and see if like having it come in, come out. I tried having a high cut frequency kind of come in and come out. I don't know if there was nothing. It's just kind of sitting there. It's not really. There's nothing about the song that moves. But I think that's kind of okay, and it really hands off nicely to our beat again, which I have just kind of swell up as it's at the tail end here, instead of it just popping up for that da-da-da-da, which it was previously just loud there. Now it's getting louder up here, and then like this handoff I think is actually pretty nice. Like if you're listening to one beat, as it goes away, you're like, oh wait, there's other beats here, and then oh my goodness, you're back into the drop. I think it really helps actually drive the rhythm forward. And I will say the impact here is, I don't know, it's just really punchy. I really think that that's a good drop back in. One of the best I've ever been able to achieve. So yeah, that's Into the Binary, a cool new track that I definitely am going to drop on Spotify with it's like a DLC pack to Boss Fight. I'll maybe make one more track. We'll see if I kind of get two going to like, I think I can publish 2 tracks as a single and without crossing into album territory. So if I can do that, I will do that. That'd be fun. And yeah, but that's all we have time for today. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.